the biggest aha moment for me was my role here is not to select the right sofa anymore. It's to support my employees so that they have all of the tools they need to select the right sofa. My role is to sell business.
All right. I'm Rebecca Hay, and I've built a successful interior design business by trial and error, podcasts, online courses, and so many freaking books. Over the last decade, I've grown from an insecure student to having false starts to careers, and now I'm finally in the place where I want to be. Throughout my journey, it's been pretty obvious that I'm passionate about business and helping other entrepreneurs do the same. Each week, I'll share tangible takeaways from my own experience and the experiences of other badass women to help you build your confidence and change your business. Hey, it's Rebecca, and you're listening to Resilient by Design. Today, I am interviewing one of my favorite return guests, Dina Holland. Dina Holland has been in business for more than 15 years. She's been on this podcast twice. First, episode 78 in her very early years back in 2021. I highly recommend you go listen to that. We talk about the initial stages of hiring and her product line that she had at that time. She was on the podcast in episode 256, live from High Point Market. It is a roundtable panel that I hosted live at Market, and we recorded for the podcast all about money. She drops some major nuggets of wisdom when it comes to making money in your design firm. So you guys are going to want to go back and listen to those episodes. But wait until you hear this amazing episode. Dina and I catch up on what it looks like at different stages of your business journey. We talk about, what it looks like when you're in early years up to about 2 years in business. Then, what does it feel like when you're in 2 to 5 years, 5 to 10, and then 10 plus? And then she shares a lot of wisdom on how she has scaled her business, the difference between what she thought scaling would look like and what it actually means today, what her role is now inside her design firm, between being an interior designer, being the lead, also being the manager because she has a team of 4. She talks about that and really helps you to see the difference in building a business with longevity versus building a business of one person where you're running around really like a chicken with your head cut off. Dina is so much fun. We had a lot of laughs in this episode. You're really going to enjoy this episode, and stay tuned for her nugget of wisdom at the end, because we all need to hear that. And I will say, especially as women, this is one of those nuggets that you need to stick on your wall to remind you daily. So I will tell you a little bit about Dina before we dive into the episode. For those who don't know Dina, she has built a reputation for creating homes that are as vibrant and full of personality as the families who live in them. She is known for her signature color and pattern forward style. Go check her out on Instagram, Honey and Fitz, and you'll see what I mean. She is beautiful at blending function with beauty, and she does design spaces that are highly unique. She's the founder and creative director of Honey and Fitz Interiors, and has spent more than 10 years guiding clients through every detail of the design process, from big picture vision to the smallest finishing touch. In today's episode, Dina actually shares a specific step in her process when she is onboarding a new client that helps her tremendously nail that client's style. You're not going to want to miss that part of the episode. In fact, I'm taking notes because I think this is a really powerful step to have in any business. And outside the studio, she's a proud mom of 2 teenage boys and one very spirited French bulldog, Reggie. And when she's not designing, you can find her laughing with girlfriends, traveling with her boys, or recharging at the gym. So, guys, enjoy this episode with Dina. Welcome back to the podcast, Dina. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I love that we get to have you come back as our repeat guest or repeat
Love
expert. If anyone is listening and hasn't caught the first episode with Dina, she was on episode 78. If you can believe it, we're now at 3 something.
Are you really?
Yeah,
my
I don't even know. We're 3. This is 300 and something. I'm not sure what.
Wow, 78 is old school.
I know, right? But that one was all about growing your team. And so if anyone is interested in diving into that episode, I think I recommend you go back. That aired in September 2021.
Wow.
Time
Oh my
flies.
gosh. That's crazy.
So
Okay.
I'm very excited to catch up with you and see where your business is at now. And before we hit record, you and I started talking about what it looks like when you're at a different stage of business. Can we talk about that again? Because I think that designers listening will love that. You know, when I do my workshop, I always poll the audience to see, you know, who's at what stage of business, you know, 0 to 2 years, like just getting started, 2 to 5, you know, you kind of had some projects under your belt. And then there's like that 5 to 10 and then 10 plus. And I was just saying to Dina, like, I see a lot of beginners and a lot of the 2 to 5 years, but not a lot of 10. What did I say? Not a lot of 5 to 10.
Yeah.
And why do you think that is?
If I think back to now when I started, it's the caveman years. We were just rubbing rocks together to make fire. But it's 14 years ago now, and things are very different now. I think probably when you're starting out now, there is, like anything else, just copious amounts of information available to you. How to start, what system to, like, use this and then do this. And, you know, there's a lot of that, I think. And it's very easy with the tools and technology that we have at our fingertips for anyone, truly, to start a quote unquote design business where you're sourcing things and making little schedules, and that's easy. Even 2 to 5, it's like, okay, I got it. I've got a little bit of a rhythm. I know what I know what my process is, but it's still just me working at my dining room table, most likely, you know. I think in the 5 to 10 year time frame, if you're being successful and you've figured some things out, you are nose to the grindstone, head down. You are servicing projects. You are losing sleep in the middle of the night because why is it taking so long to do this? And oh my God, I'm so far over budget and I need to figure out why am I not spending enough time? You're so in the weeds in those years, I think, that
you can't really come up for air. It's like you're not attending workshops necessarily.
That's right. That's right.
You know that probably, like, nothing's perfect, right? No one has the perfect business. I think between 5 and 10 years, you at least have enough traction to know, like, okay, I'm doing this, even though it might be flawed. Whereas I think 2 to 5 years, it's like you've started taking on projects, you're starting to get traction, and that's when you start to realize, oh shit.
Yes.
Like, this is
and
hard.
you're still very malleable, I think, in those 2 to 5 years.
Right?
After 5 years, you're sort of like, no, this is how I do it.
Right.
And you do it that way until you're like, I'm going to check myself into a mental institution. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think after 10 years, you were mentioning, like, you do have people in the 10-year plus range. I think that is, if I had to guess, those are people that have been doing the work, running their business, and now they are kind of looking around and going, is there like a better way to be doing this? Like, am I missing some big piece, or should I be making more money? It's like that. Like, you finally are like, let me take a step back. I've got a lot of data. What can I do with this?
So, like, what's my retirement plan? Like, am I going to keep doing this until I die?
Girl, like, I'm there where I'm like, I'm like, how long are we going to do this? Like, how long are we going to schlep pillows? Rebecca?
I know. Well, you just said you're 15 years in.
Yeah.
You've been running your business for 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Amazing.
It's amazing. And I will say, some of this is just, I think, part of being a woman, and we have so many hats on, and we're business owner, we're mom, we're wife, we're friend, we're daughter. It's some of that is just that. Yeah. Only in the last really 2 years have I taken a moment to go, hey, you know what? I know some things. Hey, you know what? Like, 14 years is a long time. Like, it's not nothing to keep a business running for that long. Keep it afloat, to have employees, to make payroll regularly. It's like, give yourself a giant pat on the back, girl, if you're doing that, because that's hard. And I think especially as women, I know I'm guilty of it. I only this year looked back and I was like, hey, I did that.
We don't do that enough. I think as women, especially, we don't do that enough. We're always like, keep going, keep working harder.
Next thing.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I've tried so hard, and I'm trying to instill that more in my team. Like, even if it's just one afternoon sort of, let's break down that project and the wrap up and what we would have done differently. Like taking the time to do that not only gives, I think, the team a sense of like, oh, we did that, but it gives you an opportunity to reflect back and celebrate your wins. Like we're just not. We're running to the next thing, right? The photo shoot is such a cumulative experience.
It's
Yes.
a culmination of all your hard work.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So it's so celebratory and it's great, but we are very guilty in my office of the photo shoot ends, we get back on, let's say Monday after a 4-day shoot, and it's like, okay, we're right back into it. We're not like
get into the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's so important to do like a deep dive and a debrief. What didn't work? What did work? Because there are nuggets of information in that will inform and can really like refine the next process, the next project.
100%. That's something that we started doing. I felt like I kept saying we would do it. And then what would happen is we would be like, oh, Tuesday we're doing our debrief or our postmortem or whatever you want to call it. And then Tuesday would come, I was like, there are other priorities. That is not a priority. And then months would pass and you'd never do it. But when finally I was like, okay, I'm going to make this happen, even if it feels uncomfortable, because somebody really should probably go to site or someone needs to pick up that sample. You sit down and you're like, okay, what worked and what didn't? And what could we improve for next time? And then what are we doing? What are we implementing into our process? Like who's going into the Asana and changing that thing? Because it's not enough to just have it on paper or talk about it.
Oh my God, no.
That's a true business leader though. The fact that you're doing that.
I am obsessed with process. I'm obsessed with like, how can we be doing this better? Or like anytime something goes wrong, I'm like, pause. Something's not right in the process. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that something could be, I truly feel like the process that I have now in my business for how I move clients from that first call or email or inquiry or whatever, all the way through, let's just say to even to photo shoot, like to the project wrap up, but like especially in those intensive first couple of weeks, months where you're onboarding a client, you're selling them, I feel like that part of my business has come to be only because of things that came up later in the design process where I'm like, how could I fix that? What did I need to do 10 steps ago to make sure that we are not sitting here today with you now just finding out that your husband is vegan and we can't have a leather sofa? Like, what do I, like legit, like
Did
things
that
like that.
Did that actually
Yes,
happen? Oh, I love that.
yes. And I tell clients all the time, if I'm asking you a million questions and you feel like I'm being super intrusive into your life, I promise you, it's because something has happened to me. I'm scarred from like, do you have a moth issue? Perhaps we can't have wool rugs. Are you allergic to down? We can't have. It's like there are those things that are very just sort of rudimentary, but then there are things like just how do I direct these clients more in the way I want? Like that's your job as the leader of the organization is like they don't know what they don't know. You need to tell them.
Yeah.
You know, that's really what they're looking for. Then I think that's what they're paying for. And sitting in that power and owning that, which takes some experience and time and confidence or whatever, is I think what lets you increase your rates, because let's really be real here.
Like to go even with a higher level product or not pass on your discount or charge more for your fees. Like that is, it's so true. I think we often, at the beginning of my career, I was so collaborative.
Oh, of course.
Quotes, right? Like I would want their feedback on every little thing just to make sure I was on the right track. And then as soon as I shifted and I was like, no, I'm just going to present what I think is my best foot forward. This is the best solution. I remember being shocked the first time I did that a client was like, oh, we love everything. And in my head, I'm like, how is that possible? There's like a million other choices we could have made for you and you just love it? Like what?
That's right.
Because they're coming to you. They just want you to tell them what to do. The right client.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you're exactly right. It has to be the right client. And identifying that early, like just now what you said in the beginning, you're like, oh my God, great. They want to be collaborative. Wrong. Red flag.
Yeah.
No.
I stopped using that word at all. I told my team, we are not collaborative.
No, we're not. Exactly. I don't want to collaborate with you. You don't go to the dentist and go like, let's chat about this root canal. No.
Right.
Like, I am an expert in my subject matter. I'm going to come to you with the best solution, respective of the design style that we've discussed and that we've agreed upon that is right for your home, the investment level that we've discussed that we know is necessary for you to achieve the look that you want. Like once I have those parameters, bye. Like I'll be back in 8 weeks. you know?
Yeah, totally.
um,
And they value that. Okay, I love this because people listening are thinking, "Oh my God, how do I get there?" When you look back at that early, let's say 2021 version, which isn't even really that long ago, but that was 5 years ago, right? When you look back
okay.
at that version of your business, what has changed the most in how you operate today?
I mean, operationally, I have gotten very good about delegating and I've gotten very clear about what my role is and how I drive business in this world versus what my team does. And I am constantly asking myself, I'm constantly throughout the day checking in with myself, is this something I need to be doing or is this something someone else could learn from doing?
Oh, I love that.
Am I stealing a learning opportunity from someone by doing that? And sometimes I have to be honest with myself and say, I am stealing a learning opportunity, but it's because I don't want to do the bookkeeping reconciliation right now. I want to look at that pretty thing. And my team knows. My
Yeah.
team knows if I'm like in the weeds so deep with like some kind of whatever, like business owner type thing, they'll be like, "Do you want to come look at like what we've like selected for?" They know to bring me in. But the for the most part, I think the biggest aha moment for me was my role here is not to select the right sofa anymore. It's to support my employees so that they have all of the tools they need to select the right sofa. My role is to sell business. My role is to find leads, to and to sell business and to sell my that is truly what it is. So while I may not be as involved in the day-to-day selection of things, certainly I'm still involved. I still review everything. We still have kind of creative brief discussions. We have nothing is going out the door that I haven't had an eye on and a say on. Like certainly it's like, no, I don't know if that's the right coffee table. But you have to be okay distancing yourself from the day to day and stepping into that role of I'm the problem solver. That's all I do all day long is solve problems. I solve
Yeah.
problems for clients. I solve problems from you have to be okay
Yeah.
assuming a new role, and that is difficult. The other thing that I think was the biggest changer for me is I used to be so afraid of, I won't even say rejection, but I used to just be afraid of talking to people about money and shying away from that. And it's uncomfortable. And it's like, I don't want to harp on a gender thing, but I do think that this is, I think women specifically have a really hard time standing there and being like, $600,000, please, right here in my hand. That's how much this is going to be. Like,
Yeah.
because that's just what it is. What you need to realize is that these people have come to you to spend money. Like you didn't go find them. They came to you, right? And so now your job is to tell them, here's how much it's going to be to achieve that look. I am doing a great disservice to you as a prospective client. If you have come to me, presumably because you've seen work that I've done that you've liked, and then I take on your job knowing you don't have enough money to get to that look. You don't. And in the end, you're not going to be happy with it.
Yeah.
That's my job up front to tell you, hey girl, that's not going to do it. And that's uncomfortable. And in order to do that, you need data. I think you need to be able to stand there and be like, no, I know it's going to be $55,000 to do that room. It's $55,000 all day to do that room. We've done it 20
Right.
times, You need to have some data to reflect back on. And even if you don't have the data, you could probably do it yourself. Like I remember now that I have the data, it's so easy. But I have thought in the last maybe year, if I didn't have that data, what would I have done? I still could have done it. You can sit right now today, go ahead and price out, put together the room that you want. Go ahead. Just go on Pinterest. This is the room. I want to be doing this kind of work. Great. Price it. Because I guarantee you it's got an extra zero on the end that you didn't know it did. You know what I mean? Like
Love it. It's so
it's true. People have no
know.
idea. And I sometimes use this analogy. It's like you didn't know how much a wedding bouquet cost until you planned your first wedding. And now
Right.
you know, oh, okay. So people don't know. The average person is moving into a home and they are buying the things that they think they need to finish a room. And those things are a place to sit, a place to put down a drink or put up their feet, a light, and maybe that's it. Maybe there's a rug. And then they're standing back and going, well, why isn't this room finished? And then I have to come in and be like, you stopped, but
You stop spending
30
money.
you stopped 35, you've got 35% more to go in this
Yeah.
room. You've got, it does take more money to get to that finished product. So anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to go back to the first thing that you shared.
Yeah.
Where you said that, you're not you're not involved in everything. Like, you cannot possibly be involved in everything. And your role is like, you're the face of the company, you're bringing people in. I recently had a conversation with someone who has hired Studio McGee as their designer. And she was telling me, like, Shay's not in any of the meetings.
How could she be?
I know.
She's at Target. She's at Target headquarters. You know what I mean?
Like, how in England, she's traveling.
Yes.
She's got a cookbook. But she said at first she was like, oh, but then she realized, but Shay has trained all these people, and like I think she was at one of the meetings, but it's still her design aesthetic. You're still getting,
of course,
it's all her core values that are coming through, whatever that is for them. But as a reminder to those who want to scale. You do have to relinquish some control.
You absolutely do, which can be hard as a creative person, especially a creative person that has started their own business. I think when you're looking to make those first couple of hires, it's important. And I hope that young design professionals coming into a small design business, I would assume but I'm going to tell you if you don't, you should be ready to work in someone else's design style. That's your job, right? It's like, you're not yet going to show up probably and be like, well, I know that you do California casual, but I'm all about New York City modern, and that's what I'm here to do. Like, no, you probably need to get your head around, like, you're going to be doing California casual. So if you can train your team and you can set their expectations for, and I'm infamous for this. Like, I'll hire someone and I won't let them do anything by themselves for 2 years. Like, they're at every meeting. They're at, not anything by themselves, but you know what I mean? Like, I need to make sure that you're CC'd on every email. You see how we talk to clients. You're on every call, even if you're not saying anything. You see how we talk to clients. You see how mean I am to vendors. Like, you have to see all of that.
Oh my God.
You see so how I talk to these contractors, right? You see what I'm saying to this plumber? That's the energy you need to bring in here.
Totally. I mean, that's how I learned. I was right hand beside Steven for 5 whole years, right? And it wasn't until a few years in that I was actually able to put the designs together, talk to the clients, but I knew exactly what he wanted. I can tell you for myself in my own business, I did try to expedite that process by hiring people and then just assuming, okay, they've got it, this is great, and letting them source without really getting enough training from me. And what would happen is they would bring me selections, and I remember being like, what is this? And then it was that awkward conversation where I had to say, like, no, I don't like this, or this isn't my style. And I had to like, and then there's the managing in my mind of like managing their emotion of trying to explain why. And well, I don't think, and trying to be polite about it. And I was thinking more of like a carpet that was, with florals. And sometimes people would get defensive. And so
of course,
I think onboarding the people you hire is so important, but also hiring people with a bit more experience will save you time.
It does save you time, for sure. And I don't know. I guess I'm thinking, like, I don't know that I've hired anyone that has had no. Like, my first hire, I hired her right out of college. She'd never worked for anyone. She's still with me to this day. I think this is her 7th or 8th year. My second hire, she's left a couple times to have babies, but she keeps coming back. And same, she worked for her mom. Her mom was a designer, but certainly like a completely different process, all of that. My procurement manager worked for a general contracting company. So she had, but like, that's so different than working at high-end residential. There's 4 of us in this office. We are all doing everything all the time. It's very different. So the other thing I'll say is, and going back to like, just thinking about, you asked me what's different. I got really comfortable with hearing no. Hearing no is the main thing. You got to be okay with not hearing no as like, no is a bad thing. No is not a bad thing. You need, and one of the things that I challenge myself to do, and it doesn't happen every day, did I get my 5 no's today? 5 no's every day. Did you ask enough to get an, and by that I mean, if you present a project and you're like, we're really pushing it on the cost of this sofa or whatever, right?
Sure. Or a print or whatever.
Anything you present, if you get no pushback, where's my no? Where's my no? I didn't push hard. I didn't push hard enough. I didn't. So reframe what no is. No is you pushing the bounds of what you deserve. Keep pushing and keep pushing.
I love that advice. I love
Keep
that
pushing.
advice. You know, I didn't intentionally do that myself, but when I look back, I got a lot of no's because I kept trying to push the boundaries with my designs because I wanted higher level designs, but I didn't have those clients yet. So it was like with every client, I'd be like, but this fabric is this and it's so great. And honestly, for the designers listening, I hope this is the lesson you take away because it is powerful. I never thought of it this way, Dina. It's like I was getting no's. But I kept going until eventually I got clients who were like, yeah, we love that fabric. Yeah, we'll pay that. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, what? What just happened? It doesn't happen overnight. It was little bits and bits. And then there's a different no, right? It's
that's
a new
right.
no.
And that's exactly right. There's a different no. The first no might be that fabric is too expensive. The second no might be, no, we're not going to put that wing on the house. Like you just have to keep pushing. Yeah. And no doesn't mean you're a bad person, you don't know what you're doing, you're stupid, you're out of place. Doesn't mean any of those things. It just means I'm right there. I'm right there at the line and I'm going to get there. So reframe what no means for yourself. If you go to bed every night and you got no no's, you didn't ask for enough for yourself.
I love that. Right? That's good advice. Okay.
In everything though, in everything, in your whole life.
Yeah, that's so true. It's like everything in life. I think too, is oftentimes many of us are afraid of confrontation. We're afraid of getting the no because we interpret it as rejection.
Exactly.
That is the obstacle to overcome, I think, in life and in business. Absolutely. For many of us.
Absolutely. And then, unpacking there's a whole other set of no's that is just related to money. And that has such a deep psychological thing, again, especially with women of, maybe it's too much money and am I worth that? And who am I to ask for that? And should I be making that? And are other people making that? There's so much angst around money. And again, I think for me, it was like, these people came to me. This is a luxury business. I'm not here trying to sell you a $500 pillow because you came asking for, it's like, you came looking for me, right? I think you have to push. That's I'll leave it at that.
So interestingly, you've been on the podcast twice. I forgot that we did the panel at High Point Market.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was all about money. So I'll find that I'll share that in the intro or the outro so people can go find it. But when you were here before, and we probably touched on it in the panel, but you talked about being at a crossroads, and I feel like you've kind of talked about this just now, but between being a designer and being a manager. Yeah. Where do you think you've landed and has your perspective changed?
Wow, that's such a great question. I think that I am still a designer in the sense that I can still look at a room and very quickly assess what's wrong with it or very quickly assess what it needs. I am still a designer in the sense that I can look at something and know if the scale is wrong or but my skill set has changed more from that to being sort of like this more mystical interpreter of design. It's more about
mystical interpreter. I love
mystical interpreter, because it's like I will look at a design that someone on the team has done, and then I think about the client and I think about what they've said to us, and I think about the dynamic between maybe the two partners, and I think about I spend so much time being like, what did she mean when she said that? Did you notice her tone change? She's uncomfortable with something about that. There's so much, okay, I think she's going to be uncomfortable with this amount of pattern, but we know that this is right and this is what is going to be correct in the room. So this design needs to speak to that. So let's hold some things in our back pocket, but let's go with this version and let's keep these things in our back pocket. If she's feeling scary, well, it's more like that. It's like I'm in the background, pulling strings like this crazy puppet master of design strategy. Seriously, to be because I'm just trying to get this project over the line, we're going to present, it's going to get approved. Okay, what are the barriers? What are these different obstacles that could come up, right?
It's like you are anticipating, it's like in marketing. We always say anticipate the objections.
Yeah. Oh, I'm doing that all day long. Exactly. exactly right.
So
Yes.
that's what you're doing. You're anticipating what could a potential objection be. Well, they have a dog, and they might think that this
Yes.
isn't dog friendly, but I know it is because of this. But just in case, let's have a backup fabric.
Exactly,
Because
exactly.
even if we tell them all the truths, they might still have this preconceived idea that this is not appropriate for animals, and so let's just have a backup. It's that
Yes,
type of
absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's anticipating objections and coming up with possible problems, but always with an eye toward what's going to be right though for them. Like what's right for them based on what they've said to me, but what do I know is right?
Right.
What do I know is right? So, and to be honest with you, my role is sales. Like the quicker you get comfortable and accept that what you're doing every day is selling, the faster you will be successful. You are selling yourself every day. You're selling your ideas. That's all you're doing all the time. You have to get comfortable explaining your ideas and selling them. That's really it. So good old sales techniques. Who is my target? What is their motivation? What are the objections? It's literally that. Break it down and apply it to your business.
So what do you think, like back then in the earlier years of your business, what did you think scaling would look like back then versus what it actually looks like now?
Yeah, such a good, oh my gosh, these are great questions, Rebecca. I thought that scaling was going to be me running some 25-person design firm, and there was going to be,
Oh my
is
God,
that
that's
what you
I
thought?
thought. Totally.
Girl, what?
I didn't want that, because then I learned
Ew.
you have to manage a lot of people, and that's
Oh,
not fun.
yuck. I would never want that size of a firm. Now, I don't know that we'll stay at 4 people. Like maybe I could see it getting up to like, I don't, like even 8 seems insane. 8 people? What? What are we getting for lunch? Like, but to scale, like I think of Studio McGee and those giants, like
Yeah.
how connected can she be to the finished product? And that's what I don't want. I don't ever want to get to a place where things are going out the door and I don't even know. I don't even know what, or I'm showing up at a project. I'm like, well, who picked that paper?
I would never
don't
do
want
that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I don't want that. So I used to think scaling was about size, and now I know that scaling is about size of client.
Yes. Ooh, I love
Right?
that.
It's not about, I don't care so much how big the team is. I care that we're working on bigger and bigger projects, even if that means the whole office is working on one project for the year. Okay. Well, it will be priced accordingly. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I would rather take on larger, more challenging, more interesting projects than just fill a bunch of
Volume.
desks.
How many
Yeah.
projects a year do you typically do at the moment?
It changes every year, and obviously the economy's not so great in the States at the moment.
Yeah. Canada's the same.
Yeah. It's an interesting little downturn that we're in here. I would say typically speaking, we're in the 12 to 15
Okay.
of different sizes. Some of them are just decorating projects, some of them are full on construction projects, and it really depends. Like we can't have too much of each one. That's really what I've learned.
Yeah.
If we have too many construction projects going on, like Lord help us all if they are at the same phase.
Right.
Then we're really right. Like if we're doing a demo on more than one thing in a week, forget it.
No.
We're gonna live at the tile store. Like that's how it's gonna go. And the other thing is true too. If we've got too many decorating projects and not enough construction projects, it can feel a little like, gosh, why am I always trying to squeeze a drape into this corner? I didn't put the window in that corner, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say that has scaled as your team has scaled? Like, would you have done 15
Oh.
projects on your own?
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no. Not only would I not have done 15 projects on my own, the caliber of work that we're doing now is so light years above what I was doing by myself. Light years above. Partly because of I've got the experience now and I'm confident, and so I've got the portfolio to show. Prospective clients do come looking for something different, but partly just because I've got this team of people behind me that are able to execute big ideas and chase down concepts, and I can walk in and go like, hey, what'd be cool is this. I call it throwing idea grenades. I throw them and I'm like, well, let's see what happens.
Your team is like, uh-oh, here she comes with another idea grenade.
I'm famous for like 2 days before the presentation being like, do you know what?
I think that's Typical. I'm like that too.
Right? So, no, I never ever could. And I think that as my designers have stayed with me longer and have just sharpened their teeth even more in this world, like Ariana has been with me now for seven years, coming up on 7 years. I think that's right. She would correct me. She knows. She's an excellent designer now. She's an excellent designer, and I think the new challenge, and I'm there. I'm doing it. But like, if you're in this place of your business, just know this is coming. The new challenge is when you have someone working for you who is an excellent designer, you have to be okay giving them space to design. You have to be okay, like that's you have to be okay, like that's not what I would have picked. You know?
Yeah.
Which is hard because you're like, oh, like what do you mean? That's not what I would have picked. But she is her own creative person, running her own business in a little microcosm of this project, right? It's like
you can't micromanage because
you can't micromanage. You
won't be able to
exactly.
keep people.
Yeah, and I think, and you have to realize, like, you're a creative person running a creative business that employs other creative people. Creative people want the freedom to express themselves creatively. They don't always want to be like, okay, another plaid. You know what I mean? Like,
so what I'm hearing is, you alone doing 15 projects was impossible because you didn't have the capacity, among other things. But once you start to hire and you have at least a few people helping you, you have the time and space. Like that's what I'm seeing. And reflecting back to my own business is I feel like when I was in the early years, and it sounds like you can relate to this, in the early years, you're like, I have this kind of idea, and then the other part of my brain is like, Rebecca, you don't have time to explore that idea. Right. Because we need to get to the finish line and like, you've got to do all these things. You got to tick off all these boxes. And so I didn't allow myself always the time for that extra creative freedom.
Of course.
When you have people on your team, you're amplifying your capacity, your ability and your time. And now you're freed up to even have that brilliant idea that if you were just bogged down doing all the invoicing, placing all the orders, doing all the running around, you wouldn't even have the mental space for the idea to come to you.
Absolutely. You don't have the mental space. You're in the weeds.
Yeah.
Every day you're in the weeds. It can be really hard, I think. But it's so rewarding. It does require a constant ability to change. I mean, that is, I would say, if anything is sort of the hallmark of the last 15 years, it's you have to be okay with change in all things. In your role changing, in the clients that you service changing, in you making a decision that you are going to get different clients, you're going to like if you only want clients that are doing like a really neutral modern aesthetic, then you need to take everything else down off your portfolio. It's like that. And it's scary, but it's because change is scary. It's like, but you really have to. I think the people that have the longest lifespan in this industry are those people. They don't get stuck. They are constantly evolving. They take their head out of the sand and go like, well, what's going on out here now? People are doing this differently. Oh, I've been wasting time doing it the old way, that. But it's hard to do that when you're running it every day.
I know. We just actually yesterday we did a website review for one of the designers inside Designer's Room. And I said, you don't need all your projects on your website.
Yes, that's a big one.
I showed her some examples. I was like, just pick the ones. What is your intention? For me, for the longest time, I was getting projects that weren't my design aesthetic. And that used to drive me crazy, but I would photograph them because it's all I had until I started to get a handful of projects. And I realized when I updated my website, I literally handpicked the projects that were the aesthetic I wanted or the scope I wanted. They weren't necessarily the biggest projects or the most lucrative because I'm trying to put forward, like the way, Dina, you are known for your aesthetic. I had to be intentional with that because I was still attracting clients who wanted every style under the moon. And so we said to this designer is like, get really clear. This may have been a really rewarding project and it's a really big kitchen, but this kitchen looks really modern and everything is traditional. Like, what do you want to get out of this?
It's so hard in the beginning though, because you're just like, I don't have any images. What am I going to post? Like, what am I going to, my website, I've done 10 projects and I'm only going to put 2 on my website. Like that doesn't tell the full story of what my business is.
Yeah.
I get, but it truly is you've got to fish with the right bait, right? And
yes, I love that.
That's it. Like, are you using the right bait for the fish that you want? And
I love that.
It's better to have just a few projects that are really honed in on what you want to do. And I'm in the
Yeah.
opposite. It's funny. Like, I never set out to be so known for color and pattern. I just did what I liked, and that turned out to be that. And then more people came to me for that. Every once in a while, we get a project that I'm like, how did these people, like, what? Did
How
they
did
did they
slip
look
the
at
cracks?
the, yeah, like, did they look at the portfolio? Because we're in here doing black, white, and gray. Um, but, internally we'll go, and we just did this because we just relaunched the website. Um, do we want to put that project on? Like, it came out so cool and it's
Right.
great. Do we want to put that on the portfolio? Do we want more like that? And it's okay if you do. No
Yeah.
one's saying you have to be about one thing. But be really intentional with what you're putting out there, because it's amazing how people are consuming it.
Totally.
Yeah, it is hard though. I agree.
Okay, I want to know some things that you got wrong in business, whether it was hiring or team structure or a business venture. Where have you made mistakes in these 15 years that you would look back and say, oof, I shouldn't have done that? Or not that I shouldn't have, because it's all living and learning. I appreciate that. But
Yes,
where would
yes.
you maybe steer someone in a different direction based on
I think yeah.
yeah.
I think I would have documented my air quotes now process sooner. What I mean by that is, when I made my first hire, it was like I had to spend weeks before she started kind of doing like a brain dump of, what do we do here? How do I do it? Like, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, this business ceases to exist. That's not a business. That's just a job,
Right.
right? Like, so I had to get it all out of my brain and onto, this is how I do it. Once I did that, I could look at it and be like, well, this is dumb. Well, this isn't going to work, or it gave me the opportunity to refine it. So, all right, I'm going to take one client through this whole process. What worked and what didn't work. Let's go back. Let's fix it. Let's add another step. I would have added, the biggest mistake I made, and I wish I had fixed it sooner, is I would have added more steps to the upfront onboarding. Then I was so, oh my God, yay, a new client. Let's design. Let's fabrics and wallpapers and light. I was so that I skipped the, hey, let's talk about money, and let's talk about the floor plan, and let's talk about what you really like. And do you like that? Are you the only decision maker? Will someone else also be, well, do they like that? Will they be at the presentation? Oh, they don't care, but now they do care because the bill is here. I would have skipped all of that. Like, I would have, I would have done all that much sooner. And I think it's because, yes, the steps that I've added, they do increase the process. They do make it longer. They do make it like it's taking longer to get to the pretty stuff. But those upfront steps are so pivotal to making, when you get there with the pretty stuff, we fly. We fly. There's no like,
You've done
no,
your research up front. You've done all your due
absolutely.
diligence. It's like anything in
Absolutely.
life, really.
Yeah, it's the prep work
Yeah.
that makes
Nobody
it
wants to-
fly. Exactly. And like just a creative brief. I used to be like, hey, send me your inspiration images. Okay, like, things would come from everywhere. No, I'm going to direct this. We created curated Pinterest boards by styles that I identified. So I'm not saying go to Pinterest and tell me what you like, because what happens is you start going down the algorithm and
so
everything is
confused
just
and overwhelmed, and you only get fed the same
And I
one
would-
thing. Yeah.
exactly. And I would get pictures from clients, and clients would be like, I don't know, it's not really this. So now it's not that. It's, you go to my boards, pick from my boards, and now we are going to sit together and we're going to look at them and we are going to dissect. What is it that you said you liked? Did you even notice that you pinned all of these brass lights? No, I didn't even pin it for that. I was just pinning it for light. Okay. How come your husband's pins are just black and white and you have animal print all over yours? Are we ignoring? Are we meshing? What are we doing? Those things are so valuable to like you can't do your job without that information. Not really, because you think you can.
You're guessing.
You're going to do
Yeah.
Yes. You're guessing, and I'm not trying to guess with my time and your money.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I love that. So so I'm curious then, how much time passes between the time somebody says, yes, let's go, and they, sign the contract, and you finishing their design?
Like, I'm at a presentation and I'm
I know
showing it
that
to
every
you.
project's a different size and scope, but let's get a
Yes,
minimum
sure.
maybe.
I mean, I would say at a minimum it's 8 weeks. At a
That's pretty
minimum,
fast.
I think it's fast. For one room, at a minimum, it's 8 weeks. It could stretch to 10, certainly. If it's more than one room, if it's a whole house, hey, I'll talk to you in 3 months. Like,
Yeah.
and I tell people that again, but you have to communicate that up front.
Yes.
You have to set expectations up front. When someone sends an inquiry on the website, they receive a message back. They receive an investment guide. It has an intro to the team. It has photo examples from the portfolio. Hey, you like this? This is in this range. I'm not trying to blow anyone up and tell people what people spent, but hey, you need to know if you like this room, this is the range of this room. Right off the bat, we're talking about money.
Yeah.
We have to
100%.
because if we're not in alignment, what are we doing? I'm wasting your time, you're wasting my time. And it's like I find that you command much more respect if you hit that right from the beginning. This is what we're doing. We're a business. I'm not your shopping buddy. This is a business.
Yeah. So you do
literally.
not shop with your clients?
No, I would never. I would never. I would die. I would never. I mean, the most I will do, and we just did it, and I can count on one hand the number of times we've done it in 15 years. I just had a client come into the office, into the studio, to look at some fabric samples because I was like, no, time out, something's broken here. We had taken her through the whole process. She had identified her style. We had put a name to it. Okay, so like leading images. This is the image that sort of encompasses your style. We all have agreed. We've done the design. We presented the design. The design was fabulous, approved, and then everyone listening, I'm sure, will be familiar with this. We got our CFAs, and one of the CFAs looked completely different than the memo that I had shown the client. And it was for the drapery in the room. It was quite an investment, a major design element in the room. Looked completely different, and different enough that I was like, we have to show the client. Like, we have to show her. I don't know if she's going to like it. I want her to approve it. Well, the vendor had changed printers. They were printing, and it looked very different. And lo and behold, like I knew she wouldn't, she didn't like it. Of course, now, the other aspects of the room, she had approved the room. She had paid for the room. We're off and ordering. Now we are off and ordering, and we realize this drape doesn't look the same. So now we're in a position where we're like, just painting our way into this little corner of like, now the new drape has to work with everything.
Everything else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had pulled a few options, or my team had pulled a few options, I should say. We dropped them off in a little goodie bag. She didn't like any of them. We did another round. She didn't like any of them. At that point, I was like, stop, something's not right. Like, she's saying modern to a fabric that doesn't look modern at all to me. She's saying something looks granny to something that I would never describe that way. Like, we're not using the same vocabulary. Yeah, we're not understanding. She's not clear. Right, exactly. I had her come into the office and I laid fabric, and I literally made her be like, this, what do you think? This. I don't know if I like that. Like, it's not the right green. Anyway, the point is that after an hour of that, it became very clear to her, not to me, to her, that she didn't know what she was saying. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, after I laid out enough fabrics, it became clear to her, like,
she was the problem.
Well, and I mean,
there's
and listen,
to find something.
Yeah, she's a great client. I don't have anything bad to say, but it became clear to her that she was like, I don't know why. I don't know. It's like I'm stuck on the first fabric and I can't see anything other than the first fabric. Anyway, we ended up making a beautiful decision, and it will be great. But gosh, like, that upfront part is what prevents that in 99% of the cases.
That's the 1% of the times that you can't anticipate and that you have to handle. Yeah.
And it happens. Things go out of stock. Price changes. It's nonstop every day now, you know. But I think the upfront part, explaining to clients very clearly, this is my process. You're not going to hear from me. I'm going to be bringing trades into your home to gather quotes, all of that, and then I'll be back.
Yeah.
That is huge.
All right. So, Dina, big question.
Oh my gosh.
What would you not do again, apart from what you've shared, if you were starting from scratch today?
Wow. I don't think that I would invest any time in creating any systems on my own. Like, there's so many technology companies that are just doing and are really good at doing business stuff. Like, just accept that, like, you don't need to be making all your little spreadsheets and all your, like, you don't need to be doing that. No,
Right.
seriously, you're
Yeah.
spending so
Yeah.
much time making templates for yourself and blah, blah, blah. Just bite the bullet, do an RFP,
Yeah.
invest, figure out what the right solution is going to be for you, go all in, learn it,
Yeah.
teach your team it, like all of that. It will help your process. It will help you document. It will keep you, everything will be tighter, but spend less time trying to figure it out like on your own. I spent so much time figuring things out on my own. For why? And that's just my personality. I'm like, I will put my head in the sand and I will just work. And I look at other designers who definitely, like, I think had a much faster sort of like trajectory. And I think that that's why. I think it's like they were more apt to ask for help, to reach out to a vendor and go like, hey, what's the right answer? Like, I learned so much on my own. I call it my design MBA program, because all those mistakes I made, all that time and money that I invested, that's the education that I got. Do yourself a favor. You're not so special that you're inventing the wheel. I promise you.
Save the
it's
time.
been invented. It's been invented.
I love that. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. When I work for Steven, like, love that man, but he did not have like systems or programs. We had QuickBooks on a CD-ROM from like the 90s.
I'm dying.
And I had to enter things. And I was trying to do spreadsheets, right? And then I kept trying. There was this new program that had come out at the time. It was Design Docs, Canadian. And I'd been to a workshop.
Docs.
Yeah, they're not around now. They were purchased by Studio Designer. But
Okay.
I used them in the end. But I tried to get him. I was like, it's like $60 a month. Like, can we please get this? Can we please get this? It's going to save me so much time keeping track of things. Da 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 da. Nope,
Yeah.
nope. He didn't want to
Yeah.
spend the money. The second I started my business, I'm like, I'm paying for Design Docs. And I did it from day one. And I still
Absolutely.
have all that data saved. I've got everything in there. Now I don't.
Great.
They were bought, and so I'm not promoting them, but there's other programs that you could get.
Yeah.
But that was totally 100%. You are so right. Not to say I didn't make a lot of mistakes, but
I made so many. I made
saw
all of them.
how much time I lost when I was working
Yeah.
for him, trying to create this spreadsheet. Well, that didn't work. And that wouldn't, oh my goodness me. So,
And we're there right now, Rebecca. We're there right now with AI. Like, that's my next thing that I have to figure out. That is my next challenge as a business owner is, what are we doing in here that we think is so special that AI is just doing?
yeah, so much.
So much.
Yeah.
So much. And I refuse to be that, like, I'm not going to be afraid of what this is. I want to figure this out. I really want to understand how this, because everyone's talking about it and like doing these cool things. I'm like, time out. There's got to be systems that I can put into place in this business that would and I'm not even talking about like, hey, Google Gemini, put this fabric on this sofa.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
It could be responding to emails for me. It could be making proposals for me. It could, all of that. That's
I
the
think
next
the
thing.
designers are so focused on AI for the visual part of it. Like, oh, how can I do 3D renders? And how do I use it? And that's great.
I don't,
But
yeah.
excuse me, I have heavily been leaning into AI for my business operations behind the scenes. How do
That's
we
what I want.
streamline? How do we create the copy? How do we get the email set up? Like, there's so many workflows. There's so many, it can be overwhelming, especially if
It
you're
is.
someone who feels that they're at their max capacity. You can
Yeah.
barely serve your clients and you don't have help. I know people who are using AI to like replace their assistant. Their assistant is setting up the AI to replace them so that the assistant can move into a higher leverage position.
Say that again.
So a woman in my mastermind, not a designer, but she has an assistant. She's a coach, and her assistant is using AI to set up the system so things become automated. A lot of her tasks that the assistant is doing are now automated by AI to free up that assistant. She's not getting rid of her assistant. So now her
Amazing.
assistant will manage the AI, but is now has greater capacity to do some of the higher leverage tasks.
Exactly.
Like, there's so much that you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we were spending so much time, measuring existing conditions or something. Guess
Right.
what? There's an app. You can just scan and it just turns it into a DWG. Done. Like,
That's
there-
crazy.
even just,
I mean, that blows my
Yeah.
mind. They used to have apps like that, and they were so crap. They never
and
worked.
now, and they're amazing. They work.
Yeah.
You have to challenge yourself to continue to learn. And so, like, that's what I'm saying. That's my job. My job, I may not be putting up the pretty things, but like, I got to figure out how to make it more efficient in here and how to free people's time up to do better and bigger things, So yeah.
Yeah, I love this. This has been such a good conversation. I love chatting with you. Yay.
Same.
Okay, it's time for your nugget. So I know we've covered a lot of ground today, and I know this is going to be a really valuable conversation, but what last nugget of wisdom would you leave with our listeners today?
I'm going to go back to what I said. I really feel strongly about this. It made such a difference in my attitude in business and in my personal life. Don't be afraid of that no, girl. Don't reframe what that no means. That no means you have asked for something and it made someone else uncomfortable. Don't let someone else's uncomfortableness make you uncomfortable. That has nothing to do with you. That has to do with them. You asked for something, they said no. The chances are, though, that they aren't going to say no. That's the magic. When you ask for something audaciously and you don't get a no, it levels you up. You will never sell that sofa for the price that you ever sold it for before. If you sell it for 25% more and you get a yes.
Yeah.
So keep pushing.
I love that. It's such good advice. I remember the first time I put a proposal together and the design fee was $30,000. And I turned to my husband and I was like, this is what I'm getting. Like, do you think like, and he said to me, he's like, oh, that's probably too much. You should probably reduce it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to. And they accepted it. And I thought, boom, that's my next level. Imagine I reduced it to 25 or to 20.
Exactly. You unlocked the next level.
Yeah.
It's like you're playing a video game. Like, I've leveled up.
Totally.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Super Mario.
Super Mario. I'm the final boss.
I love it. Of course you are. Of course you are. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. Dina, can you let everyone know where they can find and follow you?
I would love that. Yes. So the website is honeyandfitz.com and Honey and Fitz on all the socials. HoneyandFitz. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you all.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
I love talking to Dina. I feel like we could talk for hours. As soon as we stopped recording, we started a whole new conversation that I thought, oh my God, this needs to be a podcast episode. But we will save that for the next time. It is so wonderful to hear from designers who have been there, who are doing it, who have found success, but have also experienced bumps along the way. And Dina calls it like it is. She's so truthful and honest. And I love that about her. Dina, thank you for coming on again as one of our regular guests. We are chit-chatting about maybe we can host something in Boston because that's where Dina is from. As you may know, my sister lives in Boston, so that could be kind of fun to do a little designer event. So if you guys are listening to this episode and you would attend an event in Boston, Massachusetts, please send me a DM on Instagram because I would love to know if there is an appetite for that for anyone in that general area. But also go give Dina a follow. You'll be so inspired by her use of color, her humor, and really her business acumen. Thanks again. Please go back and listen to the other two episodes that I did with Dina, number 78 and 256. You're going to love both of those as well. We talk about similar but very different topics, and you're going to learn a lot from each one. All right, that's it. I'll see you soon.